It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Deadly floods hit Hunan, entire Longshan County. Underwater, 178 reservoirs overflow. Following Guangdong, heavy rains have been falling in many places in Hunan province for several days, breaking historical rainfall records. 178 reservoirs in the province have released floodwaters, among which many villages and towns in Zhangjiajie have been severely affected. Many villages have been besieged by floods for 2 days and are in urgent need of rescue. The entire city of Longshan County in Jiangxi, Hunan province was flooded, and many people were killed. Please read the report. Disaster victims. It's over. It's over. That car is going to be washed away, and there seems to be someone in the car. Since June 18th, Longshan County in Jiangxi, Hunan province has experienced extremely heavy rainfall, with heavy rains falling at 40 stations in 21 towns. Wuya Station in Da'an Township broke the state's 24-hour precipitation record with 378.9 mm of rain. As of 9 a.m. on the 19th, 19 reservoirs in the county had released floodwaters, and the water level of the Guoli River in the county seat rose by as much as 9.57 meters, far exceeding the historical flood level. Not only were the houses of residents along the streets flooded, but there were also many road collapses and damaged bridges in the county seat, and many communities were seriously flooded. Residents in the disaster area, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, go quickly. Residents in the disaster area, Longshan is flooded. It's flooded. According to reports, on that day, which was the second day of the Longshan County High School entrance examination, due to severe waterlogging in the area, 37 high school students missed the exam. Some students had to swim to the test site in order to take the exam. The public condemned the authorities for their poor rescue efforts. Residents in the disaster area. Such heavy rain. The government doesn't care. It's a disaster. Many people lost contact in the underground garage of Longling International Community alone. As of the 20th, the authorities reported that 3 people were killed. Due to the CCP's consistent concealment of disasters, the actual casualty data is unknown. People in the disaster area. This is the biggest flood in history. We shouted to move the car at 4 o'clock, but we didn't. In just 2 hours, it became like this. It's so scary. People in the disaster area. This is a natural disaster and a man-made disaster. The whole area is flooded. The water is so deep. According to mainland media reports, the heavy rainfall in recent days has broken the local historical extreme in many towns and villages in Jiangxi, Zhangjiajie, Changde, and Huaihua, Hunan. The water level in the Songji County section of the main stream of the Lishui River exceeded the super warning line, and the Liangshuikou station in the northern source of the Lishui River and other sections also reached their highest water levels since the stations were built. A total of 178 reservoirs in the province have released floodwaters. As of June 20th, 25,000 people have been urgently evacuated. Ms. He, a villager from Xixiping, said, "When the floodgates in Sangji were opened to release the floodwater, the whole army was wiped out. The first floor was flooded, and the second floor was about to be flooded. All the fields were flooded, and the crops were destroyed. No family was spared. The losses at home were too great. The water and electricity were cut off, and there was nothing to eat." Local villagers told NTD that many towns in Zhangjiajie were engulfed by the flood. There was a vast expanse of water everywhere. It has been 2 days, and the flood has not receded. There has been no government rescue. The villagers can only run to high places for refuge. Mr. Wang, a villager from Fengxianggang, Yongding District. Several power stations are releasing floodwaters. The water is high, and the people are suffering. The Huayan power station on the Lishui River released floodwaters, and the dam was overturned. The gates didn't need to be opened. The water directly overflowed, and there was no need to open the gates. The power station collapsed, and the center of Zhangjiajie is gone. Mr. Chen, a villager from Mayanhe town. The Mayan River upstream of the Lishui River has flooded. All the houses have been flooded. The whole village has lost power. Everything has been washed away, and there is no food at home. According to the forecast of the Meteorological Department, there will still be heavy rains in many places over the next 3 days, and torrential rains in some areas. China's economy, a deepening crisis. Beyond the official claims, while Beijing boasts about a 5% GDP growth for 2024, the reality of China's economic landscape paints a far bleaker picture, with no indicators to substantiate the official claims. As the country faces an economic downturn more severe than expected, experts warn that China is not just experiencing a slowdown, it is heading towards a full-blown recession. In January 2024, the Chinese Communist Party set a GDP growth target of 5%, yet economists quickly labeled this figure as fictitious, underscoring a growing disconnect between government statistics and the actual economic performance. Professor Fan Jiazhong of National Taiwan University emphasized that recent data reveals China's economy is in worse shape than last year, with the 5% growth figure completely unsupported by reality. One glaring example of this economic disconnect is China's Consumer Price Index, CPI, which has barely moved, up by just 0.2% year-on-year. The Industrial Producer Price Index, PPI, has fallen by 2.2%, signaling a broader deflationary trend. According to Goldman Sachs' Shan Hui, China's CPI is expected to reach 0% for the entire year, signaling ongoing deflation, a troubling sign for an economy that is supposedly growing. Fan Jiazhong warned that the same indicator which showed China was trapped in deflation last year is still flashing red. Data from the first 3 or 4 months of this year reveal that the deflationary pressure hasn't eased at all. Another warning sign, he said, is the government's fiscal revenue, which is expected to drop sharply in 2024. If an economy is truly growing at 5%, consumption should rise, investment should rise, and tax revenues should rise, across the board. But that's not what's happening in China. Even official data tells a troubling story. According to the Chinese Communist Party, China's national urban unemployment rate was 5.2% in March, but youth unemployment soared to 16.5%. Many respondents said the job market remains weak. During the May Day holiday, not only was there no hiring surge, but many job openings were abruptly cancelled. On the ongoing job market slump, Fan Jiazhong pointed out that the latest official data from March and April shows no sign of recovery. And let's not forget, he added, these numbers are still sugar-coated. Nomura Securities issued a grim forecast. As the tariff shock ripples through the economy, up to 5.7 million people could lose their jobs in the short term and 15.8 million in the long term. Fan Jiazhong believes no one, not even the CCP, knows China's true economic growth rate. All the data is fake. Every department fakes it. Every region fakes it. The CCP itself has no idea what's really going on. How bad is China's economy? Experts say the reality may be worse than what the outside world expects. How bad is China's economy? According to senior political and economic commentator Wu Jialong, the reality may be far worse than what most outsiders imagine. The Chinese economy has already slipped into recession, he said, and it's no mild slowdown. While many assumed a 2% contraction, it now appears to be much deeper, potentially spiraling toward a 1930s-style Great Depression. Signs of collapse surfaced as early as last December. Swiss journalist Matthias Kamp from Neue Zürcher Zeitung visited Guangdong, the former engine of China's economy, and discovered a grim scene. Massive factory layoffs and rising worker protests. Beijing, instead of offering solutions, did what it always does under pressure, tightened repression and ramped up surveillance. According to Freedom House, the number of strikes in China jumped 27% from July to September 2024, with some turning violent. Layoffs, unpaid wages, and salary cuts were at the heart of nearly all the unrest. Meanwhile, local government debt is exploding. IMF data shows that by 2022, local governments owed 92 trillion yuan, or 76% of GDP. Voice of America later reported that the true figure may exceed 100 trillion yuan due to reckless borrowing in the name of GDP growth. Wu Jialong warns that the crisis is snowballing. Unemployment is soaring. The real estate collapse is deepening. Fiscal black holes are growing wider. State-owned enterprise debt is piling up and may already surpass 115 trillion yuan. And the final blow? Exports, the only real engine left, have sputtered out. The U.S. has slapped on steep tariffs, and countries from Southeast Asia to Africa are following suit. China has now lost access to its biggest market. The immediate crisis, Wu said, is that export momentum has vanished, and domestic demand can't pick up the slack. The Chinese economy is headed for a cliff, and what comes next will be impossible to hide. The downturn will soon be visible to all. Experts reveal 3 ways the CCP covers up China's economic collapse. The Chinese Communist Party has recently been exposed for wiping out hundreds of key economic data points that researchers and investors once relied on. According to a May 5 report by the Wall Street Journal, data that used to be publicly accessible has mysteriously vanished. It's not just cremation numbers or the Business Confidence Index. Beijing has even scrubbed reports on something as basic as soy sauce production, a staple of everyday life. Wang Guochen, assistant researcher at Taiwan's Chinese Economic Research Institute, told the Epoch Times that the WSJ may actually be behind the curve. Since March this year, the CCP has hidden even more indicators, one being private fixed asset investment, and the other, the People's Bank of China's structural monetary policy data. According to Wang, the CCP's data cover-up now falls into 3 main tactics. 1. Disappearing the data, completely halting the release of key statistics, as the Wall Street Journal described. 2. Changing the definitions. For instance, the definition of M1 money supply was revised this January, magically flipping months of negative growth into positive figures. The youth unemployment rate definition was also quietly altered. 3. Direct data fraud, simply fabricating numbers. Internet personality, Xiao Kui, on her YouTube channel, Xiao Kui Current Affairs and Finance, exposed blatant falsification in China's official consumption data. She pointed out that even in Beijing and Shanghai, the nation's wealthiest cities, first-quarter consumption actually declined. If China's top-tier cities are cutting back, it's impossible for smaller cities and rural areas to be booming. Yet somehow, the National Bureau of Statistics claimed that nationwide consumption rose by 4.6%. How? Xiao Kui said it plainly: they secretly lowered last year's base, manufacturing fake growth out of thin air. Experts point out that this is not merely a censorship issue, but a reflection of collapsing confidence in governance, a sign that the regime is becoming increasingly opaque. In recent years, data on land transfers, foreign investment, and unemployment have disappeared from public view. Cremation statistics are no longer released, and even reports on soy sauce production have been removed. On May 5, the Wall Street Journal reported that the CCP has halted the publication of hundreds of economic data points once used by researchers and investors. No explanation was given. The disappearance of data comes as the CCP faces mounting crises, massive local government debt, a crumbling housing market, and a faltering economy, all of which have led to tighter propaganda controls. Sun Guoxiang, a full-time professor in the Department of International Affairs and Business at Nanhua University in Taiwan, said, "The disappearance of data reflects China's fear of the truth. These hidden figures focus precisely on areas where the economy is deteriorating the most. China's decision to hide them means the data no longer align with the official narrative. Releasing them would weaken the regime's legitimacy and erode public trust. In my view, this is a form of self-deception that treats the symptoms, not the cause. The suppressed data often pertain to issues that are politically sensitive or particularly troubling for the regime. For example, China's low fertility rate, which has become a significant economic burden." Sun Guoxiang added, "The disappearance of China's economic data is not just about censorship. It is an external symptom of collapsing governance confidence. When the CCP fears reality and closes itself off to external scrutiny, the economy not only stalls, it risks sliding into a long-term black box."
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.